Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hammer Territory podcast. This is episode 266. I am your host, Brad Rowland, coming to you deep into the night on a Wednesday into Thursday. And I'm joined today by Stephen Tolbert, a man who's doing his third podcast in as many days on this feed. We are working Stephen in the bone because Scott Coleman had the nerve to leave the country. Stephen, what's going on?
What's up, buddy? Yeah, Scott is he has just abandoned us at our darkest hour. It's been a rough couple of weeks here in Braves country, as everyone knows by now. Tonight's game was no different. We're not going to spend an awful lot of time on the game, to be honest, but we do have some interesting stuff to get to. There's some decent news that came out today that we're going to kind of break down. We haven't spent a lot of time on it, so we're going to talk about it tonight.
It's been busy on the feed, so if you are new to the podcast, check us out. Subscribe to the show. We definitely appreciate it. We cover the Braves all year round, and there were episodes on Sunday night, Monday night, and Tuesday night. So this is our fourth show in as many days. We've been busy on the feed, so catch up on that. But as Steven just alluded to, not a ton of game talk tonight. The Braves lost their fourth straight series. That's okay for where they are right now. It doesn't actually matter very much, the results at the moment. Chris Sale was good, at least pretty good. Nothing else really was of terribly high note, and we'll move on from there. But there was a news story that we bumped up in the rundown to the top because of how much discussion it got today. It became kind of the centerpiece of Braves talk on social media and comment sections, etc. And that was that Brian Snitker, manager of the Braves, of course, was asked about his plans for next year, basically, today, before the game on Wednesday. I won't read the entire quote, but he referenced, quote, unfinished business. He also talked about, basically, it was not the standard, like, I'm going to retire answer that Braves fans were hoping he would give. And I know we've said this a lot on the show, but I want to be very clear before we start this, Stephen. We've always said this and given the caveat. Everyone has been assuming he was likely to retire. It's never been announced. It's never been indicated by the team. There's been some, I've actually thought some overly aggressive framing from the beat guys at times about Snitker, like almost certainly retiring. He still might retire, but today was a reminder to me. That's my takeaway, and I'll go to you. That like he has not said anything approaching I'm going to retire, and there's some interesting details we should probably refresh on. But what was your reaction to both what he said, which wasn't necessarily groundbreaking, it was a very normal statement from him, but the reaction was as if people were shocked by this. And it's like, well, guys, this has kind of been the standard operating procedure the last several months. Like no one said anything about him retiring.
Yeah, so obviously this has now become a very serious topic of conversation because we're approaching the end of the season. And one thing that Bowman mentioned today is that maybe not the plan, but kind of the assumption for the beat writers for a long time is that the Braves and Snit would announce something around this time. And so that the fans, everybody could kind of give Snitker like a 2-week send-off. Like Snitker's not the type of guy to do it at the beginning of the year and get like a whole year's worth of send-off. But there was this idea that just for clarity, for certainty, they would announce sometime around now, and he would have like a 2-week send-off. And I'm sure that was probably the catalyst for the questions today about if he was ready. They were probably probing him to see if he was ready to say like, yeah, I am going to retire, so we can kind of do this 2-week send-off. He did not say that at all. What he said was, he had a bunch of stuff, but basically he's torn. Like he's 50-50. He didn't say 50-50, but he's like, we have unfinished business. I don't want to go out on a season like this. And so Bowman was tweeting all this stuff. So I replied to Bowman at one point and I just said, the big question that we have to ask ourselves is he's not under contract for next year.
Ding, ding.
Does he even have a contract like available to sign if he want? Like this might not be his call. And the way Alex has talked, I feel like Alex is maybe expecting Snit to retire maybe a little bit more than Snit is expecting to retire. This could get very interesting.
Yeah, it's a great point, and one that I think has not been ignored but maybe glossed over in a lot of circles is that it's not a unilateral decision. On one hand, the Braves, I think this is probably smart on some level. This is an organizational lifer. I understand he's been managing the team for a while, but like Snit is in a position that very few humans have ever been in, where he's been in the same organization for 5 decades. It's a very delicate situation. Because of that, he won a World Series. He's been objectively a successful manager the entire time he's been here until this season, essentially, right? But there's also the realities of this has been a terrible season. That's not on Snit by any means, but he's a part of it. He's there. And also, you got the contract. And that's the fact that he is not, it's not even an option. Like he is on an expiring contract. And that's not standard either. I think for a lot of this would have been a much bigger story for a lot of, like, if this was a different manager who was not an organizational lifer, it would have been a big story in February that Snitker had an expiring contract. But because he was never going to leave, I mean, he was either going to retire. I guess he could be fired, but he was never going to be like, oh, I'm going to go manage somewhere else. That was never going to happen. So it became less of a story than it would have been normally. But that is a huge dynamic here because Alex, I'm sure, does not want the PR of being seen as pushing Snit out the door. At the same time, he also may not, we don't know what Alex really truly thinks, but he may not want Snit to keep managing at the same time. And like, that would be an understandable position. I know people are probably as negative about Snit as they've ever been right now, given the team's performance. I get all that. We've been accused over the years of being too low on Snit and too high on Snit and whatever. It's fine. Regardless of all of that, it is really interesting, to your point, that this is a two-way situation. If Snit does not lean in and say, I'm going to retire, I want to retire, then it becomes a Alex / whoever decision above Alex, if they want to even go that way, to say, are we going to offer you a contract or not? Because Alex earlier this week, I think you guys even covered this briefly on the show, mentioned Snit's going to be a Brave for life. But that does not mean Braves manager.
Right.
I think it's safe to assume that Snit could retire into a weird, ambassador or front office role anytime he wanted to. But we would all love, I'm sure Bowman would love, Gilby would love, Gabe, whoever you want to say, would love to know in your heart of hearts, if you're Alex, do you want Brian Snitker managing your baseball team next year? I tend to think it probably is more muddy than fans want it to be. I think if you polled fans right now, the answer is no for the vast majority of them. At least the people that people that respond to us. I think everyone kind of wants Snit to move on at this point. But I mean, I'll throw it to you, Stephen. Like, with that all laid out, to say this is not a unilateral Snitker decision in the way that it might be seen, because he has to have a contract to sign. What happens now? Like,
well, that's the interesting thing, because like, the Braves could have offered a contract to Snit at any point in the last year, in the last 6 months, in the last 2 months, in the last 3 months. At any point, they could have just said, all right, we know you haven't made a decision. Here's a contract. If you want to sign it, sign it. If you don't, we'll move on. By all reports, that hasn't happened. He does not have it.
He would have signed. I mean, just to say this, like, if it was literally retire or keep managing the Braves, you would sign the extension for a year. And then if you just wanted to retire, you would retire and leave them on. Nothing would change. So, I mean, logic would tell you that they wouldn't probably confirm this, but logic would tell you, because of just that setup, that if they wanted to extend Snit, they would have.
like you said, it is not normal for a World Series winning manager to go into a season as a lame duck manager. Most of these guys want an extension worked out, just like free agents or pending free agents. They want deals worked out before they get to their walk year, because if they have to manage up against a walk year, it changes the dynamic of the team. And so we've gone through this whole year with Snit as a pending free agent. I mean, if you want to think about it like that. And because of that, we have literally assumed the whole time, well, he's obviously just not coming back, because otherwise they would have worked this out last year or the year before. Right. And then Snit comes in today and kind of blows it up. And so now it really is like, because I've imagined a scenario where like Alex is, sitting there today looking through, he said publicly he hasn't looked for any replacements. That's bullshit. Like, he's absolutely thought about who's the next. Well,
everybody, every executive, even like 80s in college sports, everyone has their list in a drawer somewhere. everyone, including
everyone.
Alex.
And so I was laughing because I was thinking of like a scenario where Snitz or Alex is in his office, like typing an email to, David Ross about interviews, and he looks over at his computer screen and he sees Snit talking about, well, maybe I'm not going to retire. We'll see what happens. It really, it has, I guarantee you, it's thrown a bit of a wrench into the front office's plans.
Yeah.
And now now it is literally like a daily watch of like, because they could announce at any point that he's going to retire at the end of the year. They can announce at any point that he signed a contract. Like literally any outcome is possible at any moment in the next 2 weeks. I do think they're going to want a relatively quick resolution to this once the season's over.
Yeah, and just to say, this is not a full quote, but this is a in-context quote via Mark Bowman from Snitker, quote, "I'm thinking about a lot of things. I honestly don't know where I am going to end up and what decision I am going to make." End quote. That seems like a person who thinks it's their decision. And maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. But the situation does not point only to that. Obviously, Alex and Snit might have had this discussion. I would hope they have. If they haven't yet, they need to today. Alex needs to go in at some point and say, "Okay, Snit, like, how do you want to do this?" Basically, and maybe the deadline for Alex to know is something like October something. It's not today, but they do have to know this quickly because you want to get a replacement, and we're not going to do the managerial names today. That's a different podcast.
And also the staff behind Snit. Like I don't know the contractual status of all those guys, but like I'm sure Walt Weiss has been like, I'm going to be the next in line. If he doesn't get this job, or if they don't offer him this job, he might be like, all right, well, screw this, I'm out.
Well, no, yeah, of course. I mean, you're as soon as you change the manager, if you do, you are in danger, or maybe you're choosing to lose a lot of your staff, if not the whole staff. Like you can have a full turnover. So lots of dynamics in play there. We can talk more about that if you want to, but it became a lead story today. I mean, Bowman wrote about it. I know DOB wrote about it. I think Gabe wrote about it. Like they all wrote things that they would not probably plan on writing on a Wednesday in September about the manager, because it was like, I think everyone's light came on today. Whether it should have been already, in my opinion, it should have been a little bit less assumed than it has been, because there hasn't been the messaging from the team. But now the fan base is now woken up to this being a real thing. And the beat core seems to have woken up too, to like, hey, maybe he's not going to retire. But also, again, one last time, Alex decides who the manager is.
And he has never picked his own manager, by the way. Snit predates Alex.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
Alex has never picked his own manager for this organization.
And Alex is signed through 2031.
Yeah.
And Snitker is signed through about 2.5 weeks from now.
Yep.
And that's interesting as a dynamic beyond that. Okay, Stephen, we have more to discuss, I promise you, about the Braves. But first, a word from our partners on today's podcast, and it's the folks at DraftKings, the Pick 6 app. All right, Stephen, we are sponsored today by the Pick 6 app from DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. And our spotlight player today is a pretty easy one, to be honest with you. His name is Matt Olson. Generally, we try to be a little bit positive on this players spotlight segment. Matt Olson has been one of the few positives this season. Not the only one, but one of the few. He came in, and also he's been very, very good lately, kind of quietly-ish. He came into Wednesday with a 156 WRC plus in the last 30 days, including 13 extra base hits. He's been playing very, very well. And then, of course, tonight he walked twice, had a single, and had a sacrifice fly. So he was one of the best players in the field today. He's been the best hitter for the last month or so. And quietly, Stephen, you look up, and Matt Olson on September 10th is number 2 in baseball in Fangraphs WAR at first base, behind only Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Number 1 in the National League, ahead of Bryce Harper, ahead of Pete Alonso, ahead of, drumroll please, Freddie Freeman. He's having a good season. Matt Olson's not been like 55 home run Matt Olson, but he's been really, really, really good.
Yeah, he's done it more with doubles this year. I think he's on pace for 40 doubles this year. Only 23 homers, which has been a bit. I mean, it's been surprising, if I'm being honest. I really thought.
Agreed.
I thought he would be in the 30s, maybe the 40s. The whole team has really had a power. We're actually going to talk about this a little bit more as we get through September. But He's had a good year. I mean, undoubtedly, he's had a good year. He's played literally every single inning of every single game. He is the most consistent Iron Man, I show up and play every day guy in the majors at this point. Obviously a very good defender. He had those weird couple of years, his first 2 years on defense with the Braves, whereas like his like Gold Glove caliber defense did not come over with Oakland the first 2 years, but now it's back, and he's literally probably the best defensive first baseman in baseball. A lot of doubles, a lot of walks. I mean, he's still on pace to hit probably 25 homers this year. It's not like he has no power. So it's been a good season for him. Obviously, he needs, he's been the most consistent of you. If you think of the big three of Acuna, Olson, Riley, Matt Olson has done by far the most in terms of, keeping up his end. Obviously, the other two have dealt with injuries. The Braves need all three, looking ahead to 2026. Big part of that, of course, is staying healthy. But yeah, Matt Olson's held up his end.
Yeah, he's been really good. To your point, he's probably going to end up with the second most walks of his career. He already has 85 walks this season. Something like, 80. I don't know. Yeah, 85 walks this season. That's a crazy high number. 36 doubles to lead the team by a wide margin in that category. Leads the team in home runs. Leads the team in Fangraphs WAR. Like, he's been their best player this year. Most valuable player on the team has been Matt Olson. And the home runs. It'd be great if he had 45 home runs right now. But he's still been really good. So anyway, shouts to Matt Olson. He's the spotlight player for us today from our friends at DraftKings. And now we will take a look at some of the pick six options on the football slate. Quietly, Stephen, I believe we did okay last week. This time, we're going to the Thursday night game again on the NFL. I will tee it up for you. I believe you have a play on Jalen Daniels rushing.
Yeah, so it's obviously Commanders, Packers on Thursday night. Jaden Daniels, Commanders quarterback. The total for him for rushing yards is only 46 yards. I feel like the Packers pressure is going to get to him a bunch where he's running a lot. Obviously, they have Micah Parsons now. It's a different level of pass rush. I feel like he's going to be out of the pocket a lot. I'm going to take the more than 46 yards for Jaden Daniels on Thursday night. I think it's a pretty good play. I think Green Bay's defense is very good. So I think he's going to have to ad lib quite a bit. I'm going to take the more than 46 rushing yards for Jaden Daniels.
Of course, I called him Jalen because I am in college football mode, and that's the Kansas quarterback. So Jaden Daniels, you heard it here first. My side of pick six is going to be the more than 0.5 touchdowns scored by Josh Jacobs, the Packers running back. He scored last week. He scored 60 touchdowns last year, 16 last year, and he's clearly kind of the bell cow guy for the Packers. So I'm taking Josh Jacobs touchdowns, Jaden Daniels over more than 46.5 rushing yards. And that is our play today from the folks at Pick Six at DraftKings. And this season, play your player instincts by downloading the DraftKings Pick Six app right now and using the code FOUL. That's code FOUL. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick Six bonus picks. Make the call, ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick Six. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick Six not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick Six bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at picksix.draftkings.com/promos. All right, Stephen, beyond the Brian Snitker topic du jour today, other things happened. We could briefly discuss the game if you want to. Chris Sale was really good still, despite giving up the most runs he's allowed in a start since April 13th. That's a crazy number, but it's true. Do you remember 5 months ago when people were panicking about Chris Sale? I do.
Yeah,
that happened.
I wish that was our biggest problem these days.
He's not a problem at all, actually. But yeah, he allowed 3 runs today. He was still really good. Struck out 9. I pulled the stats, though, including today, just to shout out Chris Sale real quick. That was the headliner of the night. 11 starts since the beginning of May for Chris Sale. 11 starts. He was hurt for part of this, acknowledged. 71 2/3 innings with a 1.38 ERA. That includes tonight. 95 strikeouts, 19 walks. And so 95 Ks and 71 2/3 innings. That is, let's just say, lights out. Chris Sale has been basically as good or better as last year. Just hasn't been. He didn't throw as much, and obviously the team's much worse. But shouts to him. One of the few bright spots. We love Chris Sale.
Yeah, it's a cruel twist of the knife that last year the Braves were in the playoffs, but Sale wasn't healthy enough to pitch. And this year he's healthy enough to pitch in the playoffs, but the Braves aren't good enough to be in the playoffs. So we got to get this guy. I just want to see this guy in a playoff series. I want to see what he can do healthy in a playoff series. We're going to try again next year, but he's their best pitcher by far. I mean, it's not even close. He's their ace. Got to get him healthy, and we got to get him to a postseason series where I think he could dominate an entire playoff run.
I would love to see that. Perhaps 2026 will bring exactly that. Do you have anything else you'd like to add about the game today? Because the other games we've covered, you and Sean, I shouldn't say we, you and Sean covered Monday and Tuesday nights games. Listen to those episodes if you want to. It was a 3-2 loss. It was pretty standard. I don't know. Anything else?
Sale had 8 strikeouts through 3 innings.
Yeah, he was dealing early.
I kept my eye on. I was like, this could be like an 18, 19 strikeout game. The Cubs have been pretty cold on offense the last couple weeks. It kind of went downhill for him in the next 2 or 3 innings, but he was incredible early. I really thought we might have like a 17 strikeout game on our hands. Offense didn't really show up, so he kind of fluttered out, but whatever.
Yeah, the offense was not the best. The only player who had multiple hits. Now, Matt Olson did reach base 3 times, but the only player who had multiple hits, this is a professional segue, Stephen, was Marcell Ozuna. Marcell Ozuna had 2 hits today. And he, given the Sean Murphy injury, which you guys covered in depth, Ozuna is going to play, probably should play more. He's going to play as much as he was probably already playing. But he's back in there. And because he's playing more, I think people are talking about this now. There has been a discussion. In fact, you and I exchanged tweets publicly about this today, about whether Marcell should be brought back. It's not a new topic. It's been out there kind of bubbling below the surface, but it kind of reached a larger pitch in the last couple of days post Murphy injury. What do you think? Because I've shared a little bit of this, but I want to know what you think broadly about this, because there is a split, and that's predictable with a player like Marcell, who's expiring contract, all those things. But is there a scenario in which you would want Marcell back, or are you of the camp where it's like, no, thank you, I'm clearing my DH spot?
Yeah. So I can't remember exactly the I think Bowman sent out a tweet about the only scenario where it makes sense is if he came back on a really small deal. And so I replied, I think personally, I'm just done having a full-time DH that cannot play anywhere on defense, and you're just kind of stuck with the lack of flexibility. Especially and honestly, the real reason behind this opinion is that I want to have a 4th full-time starting caliber outfielder, because one, the Braves have had an impossible time keeping outfielders healthy, for more than 2 months at a time.
For years and years and
years. We're on year 5 of this, and I'm kind of sick of it. And what I want to do is I want to go get another starting caliber outfielder. There's a bunch in free agency: Kyle Tucker, Cody Bellinger. There's a bunch.
Kyle Tucker is what we're leading with, that $35 million a year player. That'd be fun.
I mean, the Braves should be in those talks. They're usually not, but they should be.
All right.
But yeah, just not a depth piece, not a 4th outfielder, a legitimate starting caliber outfielder that can help carry some of the outfield load, and then have that person, Jurickson Profar and Ronald Acuna Jr., just rotate the DH next year to try to keep everybody healthy. Acuna and Profar are not elite defenders that you have to have out there at all times. You're more than happy having those guys, A, get off their feet every once in a while and just hit, and B, let somebody else, Cody Bellinger, actually makes a lot of sense as somebody who could actually play in the field, could hit. And you just have all 4 of those, or you just have all 3 of those guys rotating those 3 positions: left field, right field, and DH next year. And it's so much more flexibility, because the people that you're using at DH can play the field, which allows you to do a lot more late in games. When you just have a DH only player and you're paying him a ton of money and he has to be in the lineup every day, there's just no flexibility. And I'm kind of sick of that. And I know that you can get a really good hitter and he could potentially change your lineup, but also a lot of these DH types are on the wrong side of 30, 35. You don't really know what you're going to get year to year. Marcell Ozuna this year is a perfect example. He just wasn't the same. And that happens with dudes this old. It just does. Everybody's talking about Kyle Schwarber. One, the Braves are not going to be on it. Kyle Schwarber is going to make so much money. The Braves. And 2, that's another like 30-plus-year-old DH only player. Like you're just stuck. If that guy is hurt or not as good as you thought, you're paying him a ton of money. He's got to be in the lineup. I'm just sick of that lack of flexibility.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can already hear people saying, "What about the catchers too?" Because if they had two catchers, and you guys have discussed Sean Murphy already, won't recycle all that. That's a factor too. Like I am of the mind that you don't want a catcher DHing every day because no matter who the catcher is, they're not going to be as good of a hitter as a DH would be.
Yeah.
Even Drake Baldwin, who like maybe he may be awesome, and he's very good. We know that. Drake Baldwin compared to DHs at the plate is not special.
Right.
He's still fine, but like he's special compared to catchers. Catchers is ideally you do not want your catcher DHing in a perfect world without injuries. So, but another spot where you can do that. I am with you 100% on this. I don't want, and what I said to you in response to what Bowman said and what you said was the only way that I would understand and support to a degree bringing back Marcell Ozuna is if basically he doesn't have a market and he comes back on a deal that is small enough where you, as whoever's managing the team, by the way, or whether it's Snit or something else, honestly, this would probably work better if it wasn't Brian Snitker, if we're being 100% honest, because Snit trusts Marcell too much.
Exactly.
But that dynamic plays in there too. But that aside, if you pay him a number where it's small enough where you can bank on him not playing every day. If you're paying Marcell Ozuna $6 million instead of $16 million, you can say Marcell is our number one bench bat and he will DH sometimes. And that's fine for that job. If you're paying him what he's making now, he can't be that. Like you can't. Obviously, this season's different because if the season was over, we've plenty called for him to not play as much because the season was over. Yeah. But if they were competitive right now and he was healthy, you don't really have to argue it to not play him. Like he's going to have to play, making the money he's making now. But I don't think anybody would pay him the money he's making now, to be 100% honest. I don't see that market being there.
There's also there's also like this whole hip thing that has been out there all year. Like, is he going to have hip surgery at the end of the year?
Right. It's the hip. He'll be 35.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the DH only of all DH onlys too. I mean, Schwarber is too, but like, and look, it's not this simple, but it is this simple. When Marcell is putting up a 150 WRC plus for 2 years, nobody cared because, but that's also what you kind of have to be. If you're a DH only, you have to be that. There's no margin for error.
That's what you have to give up the flexibility.
To give up the flexibility. And I don't think there's a reasonable world where you can project that anymore from Marcell.
Right.
And he's a good hitter. He's still a good hitter now. Like, I think some people, including me, probably have kind of maybe glossed over that even in a kind of a down injury plagued season, his WRC plus is 114. Like he's still an above average hitter. But as a full-time DH, that's just not good enough. Like you need him to mash, and he's not doing that. Plus, this isn't his fault. The one position he actually can kind of fake is first base, and they don't need that because Matt Olson, knock on wood, plays every inning of every game. So, it's tough.
Well, not only that, but like there's this whole thing where like Marcell is also just not like, I made the joke the other day that, they came out that Alex Anthopoulos lost 60 pounds. And I made the joke on Twitter that Marcell found them all because like, he is not like aging. Like he's not aging. He's not somebody that looks like it's going to age well. It looks like somebody that's going to like maybe be out of baseball in a couple of years. I'm just kind of ready to move on if I'm being
honest. I am too. And I believe that it's the most likely and the best thing is for him to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm just laying out the scenario where I would understand it, which basically is like, I don't know what the number is. Maybe it's 6 million. Maybe it's less than that. I don't know. But what you do not want to be doing is paying him enough where he has to, and I mean has to play. There is a role there for somebody like Marcell. It doesn't have to be Marcell Ozuna to be like number one bench bat and part-time DH. That's a role that can exist. That's fine. But we are aligned in not wanting a full-time everyday DH because look, you mentioned it, but just to say this, like, I think Ronnie should DH more.
Yeah.
I think Profar defensively is pretty bad.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. And I think Ronnie probably should DH more than Profar, but it's not a bad idea to have Profar every once in a while be DHing. Eventually, maybe you get to a spot where you might need somebody else to do that too. Maybe you get a hot streak for Murphy or Baldwin where you're like, you know what? We want this guy to hit every day for 3 weeks. Cool. But none of that can happen if Marcell's on the team.
Well, not only that, but like another outfielder not only allows you to rotate DH, but it also is just built-in insurance.
Oh, yeah.
If Acuna does get hurt, if Michael Harris has spent
Of
a lot of
course.
time on the, it probably needs to be somebody that can play center field.
I was going to say, ideally, you need a center fielder because we know Profar can't play there, and they're not going to ask for. I mean, it used to be that Ronnie was the insurance policy there. That's no longer the case. He's never playing center field again.
So it is complicated, but there's so many positives to doing it this way versus having just a full-time DH. Now, listen, if they want to go balls to the wall for Kyle Schwarber,
I don't think it's gonna
I don't see it, and I would be very hesitant paying for another career year. Like Schwarber has gone nuts this year, and if I had to put money on it, I'd say this is probably going to end up being his career year. It's probably going downhill from here. I would be very careful paying for what is going to be a career year. But if they want to, it's not my money. Go for it. I would like a little more lineup flexibility.
I agree. Investing in an outfielder would make more sense than paying a DH.
Yes.
What I won't do, and we can move on, is rule out Marcell. I've seen a lot of people saying, well, there's no way he'll be back. I'm like, well, they like him. I mean, the team likes him.
There's definitely a world where he'll be.
There is a world in which he's back. I don't think they probably should, but I could see a scenario where, especially when you throw off, and look, I know this is a polarizing topic, but the off-field history would scare some teams away.
Yeah.
And I could see, and the hip and the age, I could see a world where there really isn't a big market for Marcell Ozuna. And if that happens, I think they would certainly probably gleefully sign him for a big discount. And I would feel better about it if it was not Snit managing it, if that was the case, because Snit's just going to play him every day, and I would be clawing my eyes
I would have
out,
to look around the league, but I feel like not a lot of teams have just a full-time DH anymore.
I mean, it's something we were just saying. The teams know this. The bar is so high for that. I mean, even when the Braves signed him originally, they thought he was going to play some left field.
Yeah.
That wasn't like they were signing him to only be a DH. But now everyone knows he is a DH only. Everyone knows this. Maybe there's a world in which he can play first base somewhere, but that wouldn't be in Atlanta. So that's it. And I mean, I don't want to do the math right now. Like, you got Ohtani, you got Schwarber, but like, there are not that many guys who are like legitimately.
Well, Ohtani pitches. So
he does, but I'm talking about like even at the plate, like DH only players are like kind of extinct. Like
I guess Devers is a DH now.
I said Devers is kind of a DH only, but he didn't want to be. Like, he wanted to play the field. I'm looking right now. Only a handful of guys have played more than 90 games at DH this year in the whole league. It's Ohtani, it's Schwarber, it's Devers, Christian Yelich.
He has back issues
because he's got a back issue. Brett Rooker, Marcell, and that's kind of it. Everybody else can play outfield. Like, Aaron Judge is DH 50 times this year, but like, can still play the outfield. Like, he played
center. He played center field last year.
George Springer can play the outfield. Like, he's not good out there anymore, but he can play there. Mike Trout is on this list. Mike Trout is mostly a corner. I mean, but like, he could still play corner outfield. He can do it. There are only a few guys. It really is only honestly, it's only Schwarber, Marcell, and Devers that like can't do anything else. And breaking news: Ozuna in 2026 is not as good of a hitter as Schwarber and Devers. So there you go.
I will say this: I also think what made me originally think about this idea was back when the Byron Buxton news came out, and I was like, "Well, they have 3 outfielders, but wait, no, what they really need is 4. They need 4 starting outfielders, is what they need." And I just think it's a much better use of the roster spot.
We are in agreement on that.
Time for your weekly Arena Club segment, where we see what AJ pulls from a slab pack. And here we go. Pulling a little Emerald pack this week, AJ. Looking for something big?
Always. I'm always looking for the big thing. Next big thing, Scott.
Big money, baby.
Yep. No whammies.
We've got a Dave Winfield card from 1974, a 74 Topps card from this Emerald pack. Estimated value $300. You could sell it back for $270.
Sold.
I feel like you're into more of the current players. Would that be accurate?
No, I mean,
you like legends?
In my showroom, I have a Robin Yount. I have a Griffey rookie card.
Oh,
I think
that's true.
So I mean, I have some older vintage players. Bob Gibson.
Oh yeah, you have Gibson.
So I disagree, Scott. But Dave Winfield for that amount of money back, I'm reselling it.
And if you want to get your own pack or new card, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase at arenaclub.com/foul.
All right, Steven, let us get out of here with a little bit of news and a quick peek at the weekend. This is not a huge news topic, but it is an interesting one. Nacho Alvarez is going to play in the Arizona Fall League.
Yeah.
And that is a little bit weird. Not necessarily bad, but weird, because Nacho's been starting for the Braves for a month plus now. Now, out of necessity because of Austin's injury. But it is, anytime you have a guy who's going to probably play like 60 major league games as a starter, that is not a guy you typically would send to the Arizona Fall League. You're talking about prospects. The other guys that the Braves are sending are all like prospects who've never seen the majors.
Yeah.
Now, the spin from the team is that they want to get him at bats, which makes sense. He did have the injury earlier this season, missed a bunch of time. But what do you make of this? He's still young. He's 22. But what do you think they want to have? Is it simply just at bats? Like, what's the point of this?
Yeah, it is weird to have a guy who played the majors be in the Arizona Fall League. It's usually a nothing but prospect heavy league, and I think actually Nachos is going to graduate from any prospect list because he spent so much time in the majors. So, but he did miss a ton of time in the first half. He's actually dealt with quite a few injuries the last few years. It's really cost him some development, and I'm sure that's all they're thinking about is, he even probably got robbed a little bit of some development with Austin. He would not have been in the majors without Austin's injury. So
no,
it's not where they wanted to have him all season. They want him to be in AAA. So I'm sure they're thinking, we've kind of lost a lot of development with this kid the last 2 years. Why not? Why not just give him another month of at-bats against high level? Some of the best prospects in baseball. Nacho as a prospect, I'm still not sold on the bat. I think he's going to be a utility player. He's got to get big. Like if I'm Nacho Alvarez's agent this offseason, I'm like, dude, we got to add some muscle because you're going to be a third baseman. I think that's clear at this point. The team thinks you're a third baseman. They don't think you're a shortstop. He came up as a shortstop.
No, shortstop's done. It's second or third. That's the only.
And if you're going to play third, you got to hit. If you're going to play one of these corner spots, you got to hit. And so we got to add some muscle. We got to add some exit velocity. We got to add some doubles. He's never going to be a big homer guy. He's not that big, but we got to pull the ball in the air. That's what I want to see from Nacho. If he really wants to graduate to potentially like an everyday role, it won't be with the Braves, of course, but it could be with somebody. He's got to hit more. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, not to go down this rabbit hole too deep, but he's slugging .333 in the majors.
Yeah. Like
his barrel rate is 1%. His expected slugging is even lower than his actual slugging. Yeah, like he just doesn't hit the ball hard. Like he does have I think he has a profile that could actually be a pretty high OBP guy if he puts it together. But if you have, I don't want to say it's not Nick Allen's a 0 in power. It's not that, but like he doesn't really have a lot of power. And maybe that's, if he can find a little bit more, to your point, and just develop, because I think as a podcast, we've never been a huge Nacho Alvarez believing podcast.
Yeah.
But there is a path to him being a major leaguer. I think we've seen that. It's just what he's going to be, because you're right. Third base, this bat is not a third baseman full time. Like that's not a thing. But
it's also just limiting to not be able to play shortstop and not be able to hit as an infielder. Like
if you
can very limited.
He could probably fake short. Like if he was a great hitter, he could probably fake shortstop. I'm thinking about the Bo Bichette profile, where he's not a good defender. We all know it, but okay, maybe. But Nacho is not a good defending shortstop. And if you're a bad defender, if you're a bad defender at shortstop, you have to mash. And he's not gonna do that.
Right.
Nor is he a Nick Allen level glove who can play shortstop. So it's like this. He's kind of caught in between. But the positive thing is that he is so young still. He's only 22. Like, if you're a believer, that is the place to place your belief, is that he did lose development time. He is only 22 years old. The Braves, I think you could say, I probably would say this, honestly, the Braves sending him there to Arizona actually could be like an endorsement of what they, like, we still believe in you kind of thing. Like, we're going to treat you like a prospect, like a real prospect.
Yeah.
So I kind of see that just an interesting story. Like, we're not going to be chronicling the Arizona Fall League day by day on this podcast. That's the department of Gorov and Garrett and those guys who do this better than we do. But I'll follow it closer now, honestly, because Nacho's there. It's like a guy that we know and will be there. Before we get out of here, Steven, and we've already gone longer than we thought I was going to, because that's what we do on the podcast, you and I. The Braves are off on Thursday. We'll record this Wednesday night. this seems right, but also seems wrong. They have 16 games remaining. That's it. 2.5 weeks. That's the list. They play Friday, Saturday, Sunday against the Astros in Atlanta. They have 9 home games and 7 road games left in the season. Houston, of course, we all know the Braves are not playing for anything other than Take-a-thon position, which I believe they are 4th right now in the Take-a-thon odds page I'm looking at. Anything to look for? I mean, Waldrop against the Astros on Friday is probably the headliner of the weekend to see how he looks against another good offense. Like, he looked pretty good against Seattle. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I believe it's Astros, Nationals, Tigers, Nationals, Pirates to end the year.
Just a absolutely riveting slate of games. No, I mean, the Tigers are going to the playoffs, leading the division, and the Astros are the Astros. They're good. The Nats aren't. The Pirates.
That last Pirate series might be a tankathon series. Like we might have number two odds on the line.
They are what, 1 game apart right now? That actually is a little bit of intrigue for the absolute sickos in the last series of the season.
Yeah.
I know you guys did this last night. I agree. I was nodding along when you were talking about the Cubs fans in the building this week. That is Cubs fans. There's a lot of Cubs fans. The WGN era, there's a lot of Cubs fans. I don't think there's going to be as many Astros fans this weekend. No. Number one, it's a weekend. So people are going to go to the game locally.
I know 2 people that are going.
I was going to say, include people on this podcast right now. But also, like, the weather should be pretty good. I would imagine there'll be more Braves-friendly crowds.
I hope
on the weekend. I do think charitably the Cubs series was probably the low point for that particular thing because it was the Cubs and it was a weekdays of games.
It felt like Wrigley East. The last 3 days.
It was kind of one of those like when Tampa Bay has the Yankees in town or Tampa Bay has the Red Sox in town and it's like 80-20 visiting team. But we'll see. So, yeah, Waldrop's probably, again, the thing that I would be looking forward to the most is Waldrop on Friday. He still has not allowed more than 2 runs to any start this year, which is crazy. But the Braves did announce Waldrop Friday, Elder on Saturday. And, by the way, Elder's been good the last 4 starts in a row. And then Joey Wentz on Sunday afternoon. And then, hopefully, the return of one Scott Coleman.
The man, the myth, the legend, Scott Coleman.
We will see if he ever returns. And if he comes back and he says, I'm retiring, well, I won't be able to blame him too much. But, Steven, anything else to add before we sign off?
No, just appreciate all the fans. Just appreciate all the support. It's been we have done our level best to try to come up with content on this team. The team has actually helped us out quite a bit with some moves.
The last 2 weeks have been really nice from the team, actually, on that
some
front.
Different a shortstop out of nowhere and then Snit. So we do appreciate all the support. I know it's not the season anybody wanted, but you guys have supported us really, really strongly. So we do appreciate it.
Yeah, we definitely do. I would echo that strongly, particularly in a season in which the Braves had another 1-run loss tonight. They're now 19-34 in 1-run games.
Feel the burn.
That is some was it 2023 Padres? They couldn't win a close game.
Yeah.
Was that the season? This has that kind of vibe to the season. Alas, here we are. Steven, thank you for doing this on a Wednesday night. As for everybody else, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to Hammer Territory anywhere you get your podcasts. Follow Steven at @B_outliers. Follow me if you want to at BT Rowland, and follow the show at Hammer Territory on your social media platforms. We appreciate the support, and we'll see you all next time.